Well, I was thinking since this is heroine in an anime.
Heroine?
Is there heroin in anime? I'm pretty sure the people that make it might be on it. But anime is cheaper. No, heroin is cheaper than anime, I think.
Anime is the cheapest.
Yeah, now it is. It didn't used to be. Your cheapest drug of choice is anime. We are so interrupting his question.
Do you have any favorite superheroes, whether they be in anime, comic books, the Avengers, that kind of stuff?
Just hold this here if everyone wants it. Go me.
You're like way into geeky stuff.
Thank you. Yes, she just called me a nerd. No, I am.
We're all nerds here.
I mean, as a kid, I always really loved Storm from the X-Men. I like Jean Grey is cool, but I like the Phoenix. Like I don't know if that counts as a superhero or supervillain. Whatever. See, okay, yeah, I am a nerd.
I'm really confused by that storyline though. I'm like, is she different? No, she's the same. But no, but now she's different. No, she's different.
She's just real fiery and really like, I'm gonna destroy the earth. What's not to love? Yeah. Yeah, and obviously the Sailor Guardians are pretty freaking awesome. Oh my gosh, so many superheroes to like. Who do I like right now? I don't know. Black Widow's pretty cool. I'm sure I have like a whole list. If you come to like one of my autograph sessions, I'll be like, okay, here's the full list. Here's what I've thought of since this question.
Do you have
I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. Love her. She's awesome. But it didn't start when I was young or anything. Honestly, right after college, I was hired at Six Flags to play Wonder Woman in person, in the flesh. So I was Wonder Woman for a summer. And doing that, being a face character, like at Six Flags before that, they hadn't really done face characters the way Disney did. Everyone is like, you're in a Bugs Bunny suit and your face doesn't show. So with this, we actually had to be able to talk to people that would come up and be prepared to answer questions about the universe that you're in. And, like little fan kids coming up and trying to get you. And I was like, do you know what happened after Wonder Woman did the blah blah and the so-and-so? And you had to be able to answer them. So we're like reading the DC encyclopedia and like in our dressing room. So that's when I really got to know Wonder Woman and spent the summer, reading comics and wearing a bathing suit and a wig and boots.
I have a question for you. What was your audition like for that? Did they like grill you on Wonder Woman stuff?
No, the audition was, I didn't even know that I was going to do it for Wonder Woman. I got an audition notice for face characters in general for Six Flags because they had the Justice League, and then there were a bunch of folks that they needed in the different lands. I live in Dallas, Texas, and it's the original Six Flags, so I don't know how it's set up at other places, but there it really is broken up into different regions of the world that once had their flag in Texas. So there's like a Deep South area, well not Deep South, but like the South, and then there's a little French area, a Spanish area, a Mexican area, all of that. So they wanted face characters to represent those areas as well. So I was auditioning for that because I read the specs for Wonder Woman and went, well, I'm not 6 feet tall. Like they really wanted a woman that was somewhere between 5'10" and 6 feet, and I'm 5'6", so no. So I went and they said don't wear makeup, etc. So I went prepared to put on like a Southern Belle costume and get some pictures taken. And they hand me this star-spangled bathing suit. And hi, I'm really white if you haven't noticed. So I actually didn't get the part right away. The park was closed. They put me in the costume and the wig and like went around different places and I had to pose like Wonder Woman poses. And that was my audition, and they hired me to be a Southern Belle and like a saloon girl, but later on in the summer they didn't have enough Wonder Women and they're like, here, throw this on, and then that was what I did the rest of the summer. That was pretty great. There are pictures on the internet.
Just a caveat, I feel like if somebody asks you to put on a bathing suit and pose around, usually that's not kosher. I was going to say, if it's at Six Flags, that's different. But I'm saying if you see an ad on the internet, like on Craigslist, they're like, well, you dress up in a bikini and let me take pictures of you, that's probably not the same thing. You will probably not be Wonder Woman.
Next question.
Did you have any superheroes?
I don't like...
She doesn't like superheroes.
No, I mean, I was like way into Wonder Woman when I was like little. There were like pictures of, no. I was way into She-Ra when I was little. There are really embarrassing pictures of a very chubby Stephanie in She-Ra costumes for Halloween. But I don't like, I'm super into like sci-fi stuff, but and I think superheroes are cool, but I don't. It's not that I don't like them. I just feel like I don't have the same passion of the people who like really, really like them, and then I feel like a fraud.
You're not a fraud.
Do you have any more questions or the next?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey. I'm a father to 2 daughters, and that pretty much makes me a feminist. And lately,
I mean, or I'm a human being, so that makes me a feminist. But that's awesome.
there's been a lot made about the disparity in wages that actresses and actors make comparatively. Is it the same in your industries, and overall, what's your thought on that?
From my perspective, just on the voiceover scale, like usually there's like scale. There's like they don't really do as much of that, although they might do more double scale for. I don't know. I think they do double scale for like if you're a big enough voice actor, they'll do that for.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they do triple scale.
Like
they do totally off scale.
So
like we're just gonna pay 10 grand.
Scale is basically so like the union has a thing of like a daily rate is like 800 or something like that. Let's just say that. And then, but certain actors, if you're Jennifer Hale or Steve Bloom or any of those actors that like they really, really want, they might pay double scale or triple scale, which means 3 times that amount. And then when they have a celebrity in a video game, I heard the other day there was somebody got paid $90,000, like some TV star got paid $90,000 to be in a video game. I'm like, oh, okay. But as far as that, I don't think there's as much gender disparity. But I do think, from what I've heard, that sometimes when it comes to, I don't know, am I going to get in trouble for saying, well, she's like, I don't know, you might.
What are you gonna say?
I've heard that on the convention circuit, that's where a little bit more of the finagling goes.
I have thoughts. So yes, SAG protects the actors with what they call scale. You can think of scale as minimum wage, right? So the government protects us with minimum wage so that no company is going to screw over somebody else by paying them too little. So SAG has their scale for different things like video game work or different type of work. If you do a commercial, it's this rate. If you do anime, it's this rate. If you do whatever, it's this rate. Most of the voice actors are just normal working voice actors. We're not some voice actors, when you get to be more famous, you get higher rates. So that I haven't done an analysis of, and I haven't seen an analysis of, but in terms of that, there may be disparity. I don't know, maybe men tend to get a higher wage because now you're entering territory where you can negotiate and where there's personal preferences or also preferences that maybe someone is not conscious of because we live in a society that is skewed toward, we live in a male-dominated society. That's just how it is. So, and I think it's the same with Hollywood actors. Once you get in the negotiation thing, it's an executive there. Most executives and decision makers tend to be male, and they may think that the male actor has more value than the female actor. I'm sure even in video games there are thoughts where it's guys who play games, so maybe they'll put more, and these are all speculative because I haven't done the research, I haven't, looked it up. So in terms of, for me personally, I just get paid scale. I get paid minimum wage for voice acting right now. Who knows, that may change in the future. But so I'm not affected in that way by that.
Yeah, I was just going to add, in addition, I agree with those things. Like, there isn't much. You're a girl, you get paid less. But I think our opportunities are fewer. That's what it comes down to. So maybe there are more voice actors that get paid double scale and triple scale because there are more shows that would utilize the actors versus actresses. So, and in the world of anime, I think it just kind of depends. Things seem to go in waves around the studio. All of us, because I'm also a director and we have 9 studios right now at Funimation, there could be a time where everybody's like, God, I'm so tired of these like guy heavy shows, and it's all like fighting and dudes, and one chick who's like, hi, and then suddenly it'll be the opposite. So it seems pretty evenly balanced as far as who's getting the work in the world of anime, to my experience. So, yeah.
Is it the same as far as voice work and directing? Are the opportunities the same, or is there the discrepancy there with the directing?
I think that there haven't been enough women with interest in becoming directors at Funimation, but I don't think that they are opposed to having them direct at all. Not at all. But there were only so many rooms, so many studios, and they were all already full. So I only got back in because they needed to open up more booths, and they went, "Caitlin, get back here." I said, "Okay." But more women are becoming interested in it and wanting to do it, and so hopefully they'll have the chance to.
Also, when it comes to the disparity of opportunities, that's something that definitely is a tangible thing. Because I was at something recently where voice actors were all introducing themselves, and they were like to each other, and they were saying all their credits and stuff. And like there are a lot of women, like a lot of the top female voice talent, video game voice talent, were getting up there, and they're like, yeah, you know, like the top of the top were like, yeah, I've done over 100 games or 150. But when the men were getting up, they're like, oh, I've done over 350, 300. You know, so I thought that was interesting because, and my agent and a lot of agents I've talked to have said, for video games, at least made in America, Japan tends to have more female roles in their video games, but in America, every time they send auditions for video games, they'll get usually 10 male characters for every 1 female character. So, but there's just as many female actors, so that means there's more female actors fighting over that one part, and so there's more opportunities for men to get cast in each game, whereas for women, it's like, everybody got to get that one, and so...
This is a really good question. It's so strange, too, because when you talk to male gamers, a lot of guys like to play as the female characters. So this idea that everything must be male-driven is seems very contrived to me. But there's a really awesome game. This is a bit of a plug, and I apologize. A really great game by Gearbox, the folks that made Borderlands. It's called Battleborn, and it comes out in the winter. There are 25 playable characters, and practically half of them are female, and I get to be one of them. So if you are all for, like, women in games and women that are gamers and guys that like to play as female characters, just having more balance as far as all of that is concerned, please check it out and please support them and kind of let the industry on the whole know that that's the more of what you want to see. So yeah.
Also, your daughter's really cute. I got to meet her yesterday.
She's super cute.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. What Caitlin said is right, though. Like, you really, the money talks, you know? Like, the entertainment industry can be not that bright. They were like, ooh, this one dog movie did great. We're all going to make dog movies. You know what I mean? So, like, if, you know, and when The Heat came out, which was awesome, and it was like, oh, 2 female leads in a buddy action comedy, then all of a sudden it was like, let's make some more. So if you are for seeing strong female characters in games and anime or whatever, the best thing you can do support it is by, you know, supporting that product.
Legally.
With money.
Yeah, with money. Like if you yeah, pirating doesn't count because it doesn't make the people who make decisions any money. So next question.
Hi. I have 2 questions, actually. My first question is, what has been your most difficult role? And my second, well, I'll get to my second question.
Well, why don't you say it so we can be thinking?
And my second question is what's been your most embarrassing moment in the booth?
Okay. Most difficult, most challenging, difficult role?
Either or.
Embarrassing moment.
I was fired from a job, so that was difficult. You seem like super surprised. I mean, I can say who it is, but I don't want people to feel bad about it. I was fired because I wasn't doing what they wanted. I wasn't doing my job, you know. I was relatively new. It was my first time working with that director. It was only my second time working at that studio. And so I was like super nervous. I really got in my head. I was really insecure, and it just like in the session, it kind of like got to me. And then halfway through the session, the producer pulled me out and was like, I'm really sorry, it's not working. And he was so gracious about it. He was like, it's not your fault, you know, it was our mistake in casting you. Don't worry about it. I will still bring you in for more stuff. And I've only ever had to do this in my entire career twice before. And then he told me who the 2 other actors were, and they were all very, very talented, very famous, working a lot actors. So he's like, you're in very good company. He basically made it like it was the nicest, classiest firing ever. I still went home and cried my eyes out. But you know what? It was a great learning experience. yeah, super great learning experience. So that was a difficult session.
I too have been fired from a job before.
I feel bad for asking now. Oh my god.
The thing is, apparently, like, it happens to every voice actor. Like, it's in, well, at least, I don't know. Apparently not to Caitlin. Not to Caitlin. But, like, I don't know. A lot of times it's like when they cast, a lot of times, especially in LA at least, you're casting off of an MP3 audition that you've recorded at home that you have sent in. And so they're just booking you off of that, like, 1 minute thing. So they might be like, oh, yeah, I hear something in there I think she can do. And then later they might realize, oh, actually she can't do what we thought we wanted her to do. Or it's like, we like that. Like, I had that happen once where there was like 3 separate parts of an audition, and I know that this is straying from your question. I'll get back to it. But there were like 3 separate chunks in an audition. So there was one where it was like an action line, and another one was like an emotional crying line, and the other one was more of like a strategy, like a battle kind of thing. And so apparently there were 3 people making the decisions for the casting process. There was like, I guess, the director, the producer, and the casting director, and they each really liked a different part. So they're like, yeah, bring her in. And the other one was like, yeah, bring her in. Yeah, bring her in. They're all thinking about the different thing that they liked. And then when they got in the booth, they're like, well, no, I want her to sound older. When the other one's like, I want her to sound younger. And it was really awkward because I'm like in the booth, and when you're in the booth, you can't hear what they're saying unless they push this button to talk to you, like the talkback button. So when they take their finger off the button, you just see them behind the glass, like arguing with each other. And like, I would like, after every line, I guess this is probably my most challenging role, because I went in there for the first episode, and it was my first like lead in a show, like the lead character, and I went in, I was excited, and I remember it was really difficult because I'm doing what they're asking me to do, and they're like, great, and they would like turn around and be like, and like I was like, oh, what's happening? And that happened for like the whole 2-hour session. Wow. And it made me feel really insecure because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, you know, when a director's like, can you sound a little bit younger? And then you make it younger, and then they're still doing that. You're like, what's happening? I'm giving you everything you want. Why won't you like me? So then, like, later, like, they were like, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. But I knew that they were kind of being nice. So I knew that when I came in the next day, they, like, sat me down. They're like, hey, can we talk?
Call you.
That's what I said, too. Well, because they gave me another character in the show. Because they're like, we really like you. You're really talented. We just realized that we didn't know what we wanted going in, and we should have. So again, like, it happens. And anyway, my most embarrassing, well, I guess that was both embarrassing and challenging. But, I guess this is also embarrassing and challenging. Sometimes I get asked to do, like, animals in the booth. I get to play animals, not do animals in the booth. That's a much higher rate. That's double scale, at least.
Double scale? That's way too cheap.
Look, it's been a long time. No, I'm just kidding. So sometimes I get asked. I got to play a pig once in a show. It was a Secret Millionaires Club. I had to play Truffles the pig, and like they were like, can you like there's pig noises. There's like and then you're like and all that stuff. But like yeah,
I can't squeal.
It's hard.
Snorting. I can't.
Like, it was like and you're like trying to do all that stuff, and like that's fine, but then they're like, so okay, in this scene you're gonna need to do it for like a minute and a half, and basically at one point he starts to get into the garbage, and then there's something gross in the garbage, so there's a little bit of a disgusted pig noise, and then he finds something he likes, so then there's an excited pig noise, and then there's an eating watermelon pig noise, and then there's a burping pig noise, and then there's like a kind of confused pig noise. Go. And you're just like how many different ways can you do a pig noise? So that was definitely challenging, but it was also kind of embarrassing because apparently like all of my friends work at that studio, so later they were like, all the engineers were playing it back to each other, and they made like a remix of it because I guess they were bored. And so she's like, and like all that stuff, and it's just like my thoughtful pig noises, my confused pig noises, and it's like very deep emotional. It's like, what's my motivation as this pig? I got to play killer sushi once too. That was also it was fun, but it was still kind of embarrassing when you're like in the booth and you're like, like it was a little bit like my pig, but they're sushi with teeth, and they fly through the air and they latch to your face. So yeah, it was a live action Japanese movie. I think it's called Dead Sushi. So, but yeah, it was definitely very, very fun but challenging because like, how does an albacore sushi thing sound different from a halibut? You're just like, I don't know.
Wow. So I didn't get fired, but I did kind of get a role taken away and given a different one, similarly to you. Yeah, it just took me a second. No, not really.
It's a recast.
It actually, okay, here's the thing, and it's also my most challenging thing I've ever done. So there's a show, Stephanie, I think you were in Last Exile, were you? So many, it was a long time ago. And then there's a second, like,
I was not in Last Exile.
not you, okay.
Kari was in it.
Ah, got it. So Funimation did a sequel to this really cool show called Last Exile, and it was called Last Exile Fam, the Silverwing. And there's this whole group of people within it that are not Russian, but like Russian, because Russia doesn't exist, but it's, you know, whatever would be that in the future or something. And in the Japanese, all of these people speak Russian, though it is Japanese people speaking Russian, but still, it's not in English, it's subtitled Russian. So we needed to do the same in the dub, and they cast me as the character that speaks Russian the most. Like, that's all she does is speak Russian. And I went, cool, I don't speak Russian, but all right, at least I don't have to adapt it. And in Russian they use a different alphabet than we do, so I don't read that alphabet, so it couldn't even be written in the script in that alphabet because we wouldn't know how to pronounce those sounds. So everything was written out phonetically. There was a Russian coach. She's this terrifyingly beautiful and scary woman who's a piano player. So they found her through a local talent agency, and she came and would sit between the director and the engineer and scare me. That's her job. And she would always comment on how incorrect the Russian was when we would listen to it in Japanese. And it's like, we know, Tatiana, it's Japanese people speaking Russian. They speak as much Russian as me. And so, anyway, it was so very, very hard. And we would get it done. You know, she would help me through it and say it more like this. But it was stuff like, no, the sound is B. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I'm going B. She goes, no, B. I'm like, what? And it was so very hard. And the only reason that I didn't get to keep the role is because of the amount of time it was taking. The results were good and what they wanted, but no one had ever tried to do this before, so we're working at our usual about 30 to 40 lines an hour is what we need to do. We were doing maybe 10 to 15 an hour because of the Russian and to mouth flap also. So if anything had to be rewritten, we had to ask Tatiana, what do we do? What can we say in Russian that will fit this? In the end, they did as they should have done and cast a Russian person in this role. They let Tatiana play that character. She was going to be in this show somewhere else as a character that spoke English and Russian. And instead, I was that character and got to use my Russian accent and then speak a little bit of Russian to flap. And Tatiana got to be the fully Russian one. But I've never, ever, wanted to cry out of frustration before, except when I was working on that role. And it sucked. But watch the show because it's awesome now. It's really, really good. And I really can't think of embarrassing ones. I honestly don't have any. That was both frustrating and embarrassing because when you've been in the industry for a while, it's not that you're like, I'm so great, but you have to have a healthy ego about what you can and can't do. You have to go in and be professional about everything, even when you're like, God, I've never done this. What do I do? So to really be in this moment where you're like, wow, I suck right now is embarrassing.
I mean, they shouldn't have
Done that. Yeah.
They should have
Audition people.
At least audition
Yeah.
for the Russian.
Yeah.
My friend has a really embarrassing story that she likes to share at cons.
Are you just gonna share it for her?
Yeah,
All right.
I've done it before.
Do we know her?
you
If
know
you
her.
don't tell us who it is, it's less embarrassing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, she's said it before at cons.
So you're
Yeah.
gonna, who is it? You're not gonna say? Oh my God.
It's Christina V. So she's told it before because it was embarrassing because I told it at an 18 and over panel. I was like, my friend, and I called her like Groomhilda, like I made a name for her. And then the next day she starts telling the story and Robbie starts, like our tuxedo mask from the show was looking over at me. He's like, Groomhilda, because he didn't know who it was. And then Christina started telling the story. Anyway, so basically, I guess one time she was in the booth and she was doing a line and she let a little something out. And it was like a little like a very tiny little expulsion of air. But she said that the engineer and the director were like, hold on a sec. And they didn't know what it was. So they're like, let's see, what was that? And they keep like scrolling back and forth over it, and they're all debating that. No, what was that? An air pop? What was it? Was it the pop filter? Like, do you need to adjust the settings? They're like, no, I think I can edit it out. And like, she's just like, we can just re-record the line, guys. It's fine. They're like, no, we think we can salvage it because and they're trying to like remove this little noise, and she's like dying in the booth. And so I'm like, that's the most embarrassing booth story I've heard.
Have you never farted in the booth?
Oh, I do it silently.
That's worse for you, right?
Right, but I'm
Okay. I have farted many a time in the booth. Yeah. But for some reason, it never picks up.
Do you do it in between lines? Are you good, like, to time it out?
I have no control over when it comes out. When it comes out, it comes out. But I've asked. I've I'll hear it and I'll be like, oh, you might want to check the line, sometimes I'm classy about it. I'm like, you might have checked the line. There might be a noise in there. And then they're like, no, it's clean. And I was like, okay. And then other times I'll just full on, I'm like, I totally farted during that line. Just make sure you can't hear it. And they'll be like, no, it's good. It's never been picked up by the mic. And sometimes it's kind of loud, so I don't understand. The only thing that I can think of is that my butt is faced the opposite direction of the mic.
Directional mics.
Yeah, it's very, very directional. So, anyway, next question.
I have 3 questions, actually. The first.
Oh, God. Well, look at the line behind you.
Oh, now I feel bad.
Pick one. Pick the best question.
Okay, well, actually, the one that I was most interested in asking was actually for Caitlin. I read that you wrote the script for Yuki Yuna as a hero.
Some of it, sure.
How did you come across that opportunity?
I came across that opportunity because I know folks at Bang Zoom, and Tony Oliver, who's the director there, gave them my information. I wasn't a director yet, again, at Funimation. I was just acting, and Tony had heard that maybe I needed some work, so he gave them my name, and they contacted me, and I actually started working on A Lull in the Sea first.
Oh.
I wrote about 2/3 of that, and then they went, we need someone, can you help us out and write this little handful of Yuki Yuna? So I did, 4 or 5 episodes of that.
They came out very nice.
Thank you. I haven't got to hear them yet, but everyone who was in it and the guy who directed it said that they worked out well in the booth. So I was like, oh, good. Nice to know.
Just the other thing for Stephanie, what are your thoughts on the female characters of Kill la Kill?
Oh, they're great. They're very loud and violent. But that show's super unique. So I've watched a few episodes just even before my character showed up. Hiroe, the producer, gave me some DVDs to watch. And my character, yes, Nui is the crazy pink one. But I think the art is in the way it's just the motion of the animation is really stylized, which makes it really unique. And I really enjoyed the episodes that I watched. The only thing is I couldn't watch too many in a row because I was like, everyone is yelling all the time. It's like, do you know the show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? It's another show that I really, really love, but I can't marathon that either because they are so horrible. The people and the characters are in it are so horrible all the time. After a while, I just get ugh, these people are dicks. I can't watch any more episodes, even though I laugh and I think it's really funny. So yeah.
Thank you. Very good job as Nui.
Hello, TARDIS.
You can do it. The tiniest TARDIS. Jump.
Hi. I'm sorry, I'm a little anxious right now.
It's okay.
I just want to ask, when you meet new people, how do you describe what you do for a living to them?
Sometimes, so she said, when we meet new people, how do you describe what you do for a living? Sometimes I don't. Seriously, sometimes I don't want to. If my husband is there, I'll kind of give him a look and meaning please you talk more. And I may just say that I'm an actor and leave it at that because some people just don't get it. And then when you say I'm a voice actor, they want to go, oh, what have you done? And when you don't say, that you were in Looney Tunes or something that they know, then they're like, oh. And they kind of treat you like, oh, well, then you're not really an actor. Or they go, oh, can you do a voice? And I'm like, oh. No, because in anime, I use my own voice more often than not. And then you have to explain that to them, and then they're disappointed. So if I do a voice, it's going to be me mimicking some other character that they know really well. So, what were you going to say?
I had a question for both of you guys, because when I explain that I do voiceover, and particularly I've done a lot of voiceover for anime, the question that I always get is, oh, so you speak Japanese? But I've always often wondered if they're asking that because I'm Asian, and so they think that I speak Japanese, or if they just say because it's anime. So I'm wondering if people ask you guys that.
Always. It's like they being them outside of this convention, don't understand the term dub, what it means to dub something. And so they go, oh, so you speak Japanese? And I said, no, I understand a lot, but I don't have to actually adapt the script. Someone else does that for me. I just do the talking, and it's like, ugh. And I feel like I've given them a panel. Yeah, I'm like, okay, now pay me. Fine.
I feel like I've had that happen like once or twice, but I try not to like associate with stupid people. So maybe you guys should just, just get new friends. Maybe I don't know what to tell you. For me, like when it's weird. I used to be like, yeah, I'm a voice actor, but for some reason, since Sailor Moon came out, it's different because I'll be like, because then I've actually seen people nerd out, and I don't know what to do about that. Because I'm like, if it's like my friends or something like, or somebody that like a friend of a friend, like. When I'm like, oh, I'm in Sailor Moon, they're like, oh my God, I love Sailor Moon. And I'm like, and like they look at me differently, which is really weird because I'm not used to that. I'm used to them being like, what have you been in? And I'm like, well, this. And they're like, I don't know you. You're not important. You don't matter. So I'm used to that. I'm used to just being like, cool, we're both people. But then like I'll have people who are like, oh my gosh, she's in Sailor Moon. I'm like, don't tell them that. And then they're like, oh my gosh, we need to be best friends forever. And then I have certain people like, I'll just have people texting me all the time being like, we should be best friends. I'm like, oh, it's just because I'm in a show that you like.
Yeah, it does depend. Once you get into something, get to be in a show that is more widely known amongst people that aren't like purebred anime fans, then that's all that they think that you do. Like I have people that I met them and I see them on occasion, and they keep asking me more about Pokemon. Now that I've been in Pokemon, they think that like, oh, she's the girl that's all the Pokemon. I'm like, no, I am one Pokemon, just one. And as far as I know, I'm not reprising her role. But anyway, that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to clarify. Oh, sorry.
What's that? That's it.
Which one?
I'm Deonce. Yeah. It's like, oh, yes, the shiny princess, purple, pink one. Yeah.
Hello, is this
Just to
thing on?
clarify, I'm not upset about people being like, oh, I love Sailor Moon. It's more just the idea that suddenly people are like foaming at the mouth when I'm like, or like they're like other friends, and then suddenly they just become like, hi, we're gonna live at your house now, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Anyway.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing. My question is, well, it's a two-part question. The first part's towards Caitlin,
Okay.
and this is because I was watching this the other day, and I'm like, I can ask this because J. Michael Tatum was here, and my question is, what was it like being possessed by J. Michael Tatum?
Are we talking about Black Butler?
Aquarian Evil.
Aquarion. Okay. I don't even remember. That's how great it was. It was not memorable.
It really wasn't. I just saw
kidding.
this the other day, and I'm like, hey, that was a funny thing that
Oh,
happened.
that part. Okay. It was cool. I think it was a very easy thing to do because by that point in time, I've known Michael for so many years and actually played opposite him in many, many shows. There was a period of time where we were in every show together, like paired together. So the Ouran was going on. The second season of Gunslinger Girl, he played my handler. Heroic Age were the lead characters. Bakano, all of that. Yeah, we're Isaac and Miria. Thank you. Oh my God, stop foaming at the mouth. Okay.
So the rest of the question is, what is it like to be in a situation where you're playing a character that's like in like a body swap episode or a possession type of a thing? Like, what is it like as an actor to play like another actor, I guess, or another character that's not yours?
Body swapping episodes? Have you gotten to do it? Well, in Girls Bravo, we got to swap bodies. I got to play, I got to play Liam O'Brien's character, who was like a major pervert the entire time. And also, yes, and Liam, yeah, I know, right? And Liam's character was also often, so, but he's now trapped in a girl's body. So he was not only she, like Kyrie, as Fukuyama, was not only like chasing after the other girls, but also like touching, like, ooh, look at Mike, like very excited about her own body because he was such a pervert. It was really a lot of fun. I just love body swapping episodes in everything. Like I'm a huge Buffy fan, and like when the body swapping episode, I like watching it too. I'm like, ooh, body swapping. And in Care Bears we did some. We had the feeling flu, so we kind of like swapped personalities too. So it's the best. So all you write, yes, I am.
That's one of my favorite Doctor Who episodes. Like Cassandra is in Rose's body, and then
Yes, yeah.
all the things I think about him.
It's so awesome. I love all you writers out there. More body swapping episodes.
That cracks me up. I'm imagining Stephanie, like, there's certain shows we've talked about that she's like, I don't like that, and I'm wondering if they added body swapping, if you'd become a big fan.
Totally. Yeah.
I directed a show that was all. You were about to answer. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I mean, I never got body swapped. I just get, like, sometimes brainwashed. But, like, you know, or, like, not possessed. Or, like, or you're, like, or it's like you're possessed by some evil thing, but they don't tell you what. I guess maybe they know, but, like, the director's just like, basically here you're just, like, possessed by something or some shit. Sorry, words.
That's all right.
But that's, like, so I don't know, that's not as fun as being able to be another actor, because I would love that.
Especially if it's your friends with the actor.
Yeah, like, I feel like it'd be really fun to be, like, Lucian or Patrick, or, like, I'm trying to think of, like, is it gender swapped, too?
Yeah, you can do it.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That would
Total
be really
thing to do.
fun. Get to be Patrick Seitz.
So I directed a really neat little show called Murder Princess. Fabulous name, right? Yeah, Murder Princess.
That's the first anime I ever bought.
It's the first anime you ever bought?
Yeah.
It's great. That's why you're asking about swapping. So if you haven't seen it, it's only 6 episodes. You should please check it out. Go to the Funimation booth. They're not in a great location, so I'm here to pimp them out. They're right behind where the voice actors are signing, which you'd think would be good, but as far as everybody finding them, not so good. So please go check them out and buy Murder Princess. And it's about a female assassin, bounty hunter type character, and a princess that through some magical occurrence, one is saving the life of another. They end up swapping bodies. And so now the assassin in the princess's body has to save her kingdom. And it's played by Monica Rial and Colleen Clinkenbeard, who are great actresses and wonderful friends. So they know each other's mannerisms, and I could just tell them, no, do it more like if you were Colleen. Do it more like if you were Monica. It is so fun. But gender swapping, have you guys seen the gender swapped cast announcement of Love Live? It's really funny. Like, Bryce is the lead. Do you guys know Love Live at all? No, then it's not funny to you. Funny to people out here? Anyone? Love Live fans, raise your hand. Can you imagine Patrick Seitz as Nico? Like, Nico. No? Okay, that's all. I'm done. Cool.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Also, Amanda, congratulations on being a nostalgia critic the other couple weeks ago.
Thank you. Nostalgia critic?
It was just an episode. We were at MomoCon together, and we were talking about stuff, and then he's like, oh, you're a Sailor Jupiter? I'm like, yep. And he's like, you want to be my review of Jupiter Ascending? I'm like, sure.
I've only seen half of that.
Jupiter Ascending?
The movie?
Yes, the movie.
Did you walk out?
No, I was on a plane and it landed.
Did you jump off?
No, I was like, fast forward to the not talking part. Bees. I got to like after the bees.
But bees detect royalty. That's all I know from that movie, from what I hear.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Don't mind us.
Bees?
Bees.
Okay, I'll just ignore that. I have two questions, but you can just kind of like ignore one or the other. One's kind of a more of a personal question. The other one's just sort of more of a technical one. The first one is I have some friends that they kind of like. There are groups of friends that sort of like build dynamics sort of based on characters. This kind of came up because you were Sailor Moon and Sailor Jupiter. I have a pair of friends that they kind of think of themselves in the sort of dynamic frame of Sailor Moon and Sailor Jupiter. Not like they are the characters, but more like they're just like, oh, hey, we kind of act the same as these two do. And then another, like a couple that's like Ed and Winry, they kind of have that dynamic. I was kind of wondering if you guys maybe had anything like that yourselves. And the second question is, this is kind of based on, I come more from music, and we have a symphony called the Miami Symphony Orchestra that does not pay musicians because Florida's a right-to-work state, so we don't have union. Well, I mean, the Miami City Ballet is union, but that's a different story. I was wondering if there were employers in voice acting that you should look out for, and maybe if you had any means of dealing with that.
Whoa, those are two very different questions. What was the first one?
Dynamics
amongst friends.
Is there like a person that is like your Ed
Got it.
to your Win,
Etc. Okay.
I can't really. Oh, you know what? Actually, when I was doing K-On!, Cassandra Morris and I, we were like we got to do like these like concerts, and we had to learn to sing in Japanese, and so the cast of K-On! Went to conventions together, and we performed concerts and stuff. And Cassandra and I really kind of throughout that time, because we're both really like playful and silly, and she is too. We were very much like Yui and Ritsu running around. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
I feel like me and my friend Jonathan are kind of like the Isaac and Miria Like we're like this duo that's just ridiculous together, and we're like, yes, let's do this crazy idea. Yes, let's. And then we're just like, but also I feel like sometimes the Sailor Moon cast is a little too close to type. Whoop, that was not me. That was Stephanie. No, that was one of her booth farts. Yep. But like with the cast of Sailor Moon, I feel like sometimes we're like, wow, we're kind of like our characters. And
Except for me.
you were the leader though.
Yeah, but
Soggy's
like not a good leader.
But that's the thing is you bumbled and almost got us there late, but you did it. We're like we all like drove to the airport one time for a convention, like me, her, and Jeremy, who plays Sailor Venus. And in the back, Jeremy's like, well, Jeremy had like she was also being a leader. She had like her ways thing, but and we all had our GPS. But like she was like, how do we get there? And like we were like running late, and there was traffic. And then Jeremy had this ginormous bag that's as big as she is, and it's kind of a like Venus I guess can be have vanity. And why is everybody talking? Oh my goodness. Oh, I was like everybody's bored with us. Okay. But yeah, and then like, when we got to the airport, we're all like, we're going to be late. And she's like, arranging like to get the car taken like to the valet. She's like, you do this. And then like, there's these bags and I'm like, I got them. And like, I pick up both giant suitcases and just like take them off the bus. And like, they're like, wow, that was a very Jupiter thing to do. So I feel like sometimes that if that answers your question, we could be like that. I don't know what the second question was.
Something about companies to
Oh, no.
avoid?
Yeah. I think his question, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that since there's no unions in Florida, sometimes you'll get like employers that are not so great. So when we do voiceover, are there studios or people want to hire people for voiceovers who maybe have we had any run-ins for shady stuff? No, and for us it would be for California. Luckily there is union, but a lot of the stuff, like, I don't know, there are a lot of jobs that are non-union that I think I don't know who does and who doesn't. But I think the main thing is like the voiceover community is like really pretty well connected, and we're all friends with each other. And like if Caitlin got a job in LA with a new client, she could totally text me or call me and say, hey, I just got this job for so and so. They asked me this and it seemed a little bit weird. Do you know anything about this company? And I can say, oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, they're going through whatever, but they'll totally pay you, blah, blah, blah. Or like, oh no, I heard this total horror story. Much like the same as conventions, like we don't know if we've never been to a convention sometimes or something seems a little fishy at a convention that we're invited to go to. We'll just call each other up and ask. Yeah.
And because the community is so tight-knit also, a lot of time word gets around, so if a producer's being really shady, they don't last very long.
We got it. Okay, we should lightning round the rest of the questions because we have like 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Thank you.
Go for it.
I was gonna say, since you guys voice a lot of characters, what character would you want to be that is your absolute favorite, and you would love to stay that character in that show?
Oh, like just keep getting to play that character.
Oh no, like to actually be that character.
Like be in real life.
Yeah.
Into that person in real life.
I mean, I would say Sailor Jupiter because I want lightning powers. Like that's just cheating. But it's like, can you imagine? Like I could be I could be a personal defibrillator. Like if somebody dies at the airport, I'm like, move back. I got this. I don't have to pay an electric bill. I'm just saying, there's a lot of practical applications aside from like murdering people.
I really like who I am as a person. Does that sound conceited? But I mean, they're like qualities that I would like. I would like to be a moon princess, I don't, yeah. Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
Yeah, I like being me. I like being a voice actor. I like hanging out. I want to the people in anime have problems, man. Like major problems. Like they got to save the world and stuff. Like I just don't have that kind of pressure.
What are the qualities, I guess you would like?
Okay, I'm in a really awesome show right now that you can watch the dub every Sunday. So new episode in a couple days. It's called Show by Rock. It's really fabulous. Please watch it. Get yourself a Funimation Elite subscription. And anyway, I played this character named Returi, and she's a dog girl, and I love dogs, so that's pretty cool. And she's in a band, and I think that it would be great to be in a band. She has some shyness problems, which I don't have, so that would suck. But she's also like really into computers, and I'm not, but I think that'd be cool if I was.
Do you want to also be a dog girl?
Yeah, why not? She has like really long, pretty hair and a long tail.
Dogs are awesome.
Dogs are the best. Dogs, woo, we have dogs.
You would lick your own butt.
No, she does not that kind of dog, girl.
Does not lick his own butt.
Neither does mine. Their French bulldogs can't reach. They probably would. Yeah. Oh, shut up. Don't talk about my dogs. Anyway, so I would
you.
want to be in Show by Rock. Yeah.
This question's for Caitlin. How did you like being in Attack on Titans?
How did I like being in Attack on Titan? You know, I enjoyed it. When I was recording, it went by very fast, and I felt like all I do is come here and yell, and then like the whole experience of playing Petra was maybe 6 hours long total. So the best part about being in Attack on Titan is afterwards and getting to watch the show and experience like the fandom and how crazy you guys are about it. That's what's the most exciting part.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Last question.
Hooray.
Make it awesome.
Okay. Oh,
I like his
thank
hat.
you. Thank you. So my question is, have you ever been on a role that when you're reading the line, your thought is in your head, wow, this character is dumb. Like you start questioning the actions of your own character.
Okay. Probably.
For me, no. Because I never I don't really judge the character.
Mm-hmm.
It always makes sense to me. I kind of get in the mindset. Like I've played some characters that people might not think are very bright, but I don't. I don't feel like they're dumb though. They're something else. They're super innocent, or they're overly excited, way more excited than a normal person. You know what I mean? There's other things that you latch onto, because I feel like if you think the character is dumb, your judgment of the character will come through in the performance. And I also think it's just not as enjoyable for the audience for that way. I think that's what makes the characters lovable. I go back a lot to, I think about the movie Elf, and the way that, oh my God, I'm blanking. Actor, Will Ferrell, yes. The way Will Ferrell played that character, some of his reactions were so brilliant, and I feel like you can only come up with that stuff if you really fully immerse yourself in the point of view of the character, and that character doesn't think he's dumb, He is an elf, He doesn't feel awkward at all in these odd situations, because it's totally the point of view of he's Santa's elf, he's an elf, he's got to do this and that. And so that's kind of the same approach that I would take.
All right.
I tend to judge my characters sometimes. I'll judge them in between takes. I'll do the line and I'll say it as that character, but then I'll turn to the director. Especially in Sailor Moon, I'm why is Tuxedo Mask always getting kidnapped or whatever? Can we just let him learn a lesson and just leave him? We could be fighting this monster, but no, now Tuxedo Mask got to be brainwashed or kidnapped or evil. Great. So I'll turn to the director and then. Oh, that's true. I'm judging other. I'm just saying, if this was me, I wouldn't be oh no, Sailor Moon or whatever. I'd be bye guys. You can do this problem every couple episodes. You need to sort this out. This is not, as my mom says, not my circus, not my monkeys. So yeah, that's right. I guess I'm judging the other characters, but by proxy, I'm judging my own, because I'm girl, just go home, watch some TV. You don't need to be doing this, sacrificing your life for your friends. Shoot.
Yeah. I think I would yes, everything that they said, but kind of what Stephanie mentioned, I occasionally get to play the really dumb characters, like Miria in Bakano. Not the brightest, okay? Not the sharpest tool in the shed or whatever little cliche you want to use. But it's true. It's our job to make them real humans. We can't. It's fine to observe that on the outside. Oh, she's an idiot. But it's true. People, if you've ever met someone that quote unquote knows that they're dumb or thinks that they're dumb, they're not a fun person. They'll mention things to you like, oh, well, I'm stupid, and you're like, oh. And you don't know how to respond to that. That's not the type of characters that we actually play. So we have to find what's real about them, and that's what makes our job a challenge. But I think that we love it. That's why we keep doing it. So,